After floundering around trying out a bunch of different things in this expansion so far, today's Altaria Arceus deck highlight pulled me through over half of Ultra 3 in a single sitting. This deck list has such an incredibly proactive game plan that lines up well whether or not you're going first or second, which is something I absolutely love in a deck. Our 3 baby Pokemon attaching an energy to Swablu when we go first means you can set up Altaria to start hitting for 100 on the second turn of the game, and when we're going second, they can queue up energy onto Arceus, allowing us to start cracking for 130 on the second turn of the game that way. I also absolutely love that this deck list can go baby into one pointer into Arceus as a finisher, setting up that 1-1-2 prize mapping that's quite powerful and gives you a lot of time to stall out your games and draw the cards that you need. You'll note that we have 3 different baby Pokemon here, as well as 3 different energies in our zone to maximize our chances of Altaria having 2 different colors of energy to hit for that 100 game in and game out. This does occasionally get us into sticky spots with Oricorio not being able to attack on time, the only Pokemon in this deck with a specific energy requirement, but Oricorio is pretty good at stalling, so if your energy zone's not lining up exactly ideally, it can usually buy you enough time for that to work out anyways. As always, if you enjoy seeing competitive off-meta decks being brewed up in Pokemon Pocket, make sure you're subscribed to the Glandia Pocket channel on YouTube to not miss anything that we'll be featuring here. If you enjoyed today's brew, make sure you tap the like button. For the rest of the day, have fun with this one. Going first with no baby is sad. I guess we'll lead Oricorio. I wonder if, with all these babies, Elemental Switch could be useful. Can you explain to me what makes Elemental Switch useful with babies? Because you're not the first person to suggest that, and I don't understand what synergy Elemental Switch has with baby Pokemon. I must be missing something because people keep suggesting it. What is Elemental Switch doing that's beneficial for the baby Pokemon adding energy? Ho-Oh, Lugia, Greninja will just be GG against Megas, right? I mean, if you assemble your 3-color stage 2 other Pokemon, yeah. You probably got him. Good job. GG. You can turn 1 energy, retreat, turn to attack to Altaria, get 1 ahead on the Arceus attack. That turn to attack for Altaria, they get ahead. But Altaria has a retreat cost of 2, Dimmer. So that doesn't work. Destroy Exodia every game. Yep. That game right there is why people play Oricorio. It's such a bad design. Such a bad design. Can I get a baby? We can. Lovely. Swablu! Swablu! Easy game. Hey, 1 in 7. 1 in 7 to hit the game-winning card. 1 in 7 to get redraws at the game-winning card. This game's so easy, chat. Just draw what you need. Altaria is a real Pokemon pocket card. 100 for 2 is a lot of damages. There are a couple Altaria decks in the new decks roundup this week. I'd be very surprised if there's not something with this card that's very reasonable. I just follow up with Oricorio, yeah. With the lightning energy on top here. Just like crack you for 100. And then Oricorio finishes. If you somehow deal with Altaria. I hope some cards get rotated out for the new season. I would be really surprised if this game has a card rotation before fall of next year. Maher, thank you for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. Altaria is Sil Valley with its own requirements. I think Sil Valley is kind of better. Why not both? One of the new decks rounded this morning is playing Altaria and Sil Valley. Just have 100 early more frequently. You can find lots of decklist highlights on my Hooglandia Pocket YouTube channel. We're going first. I have a Mantike. Lovely, lovely. Looking for an Altaria here, so let's go ahead and dig deep looking for that. We'll Pokeball first. You know, knock on my bamboo hardtop here, but so far with this latest patch, I haven't had any stability issues inside of Moo Player like we were last season. And I explicitly haven't updated Moo Player because it's been working, so whatever the crashes were must have been Pokemon Pocket's fault. Tempting fate here, yeah. The typical for games to rotate out whole expansions at a time or cherry pick things to try and balance. Usually whole sets, Daniel. So this is purely speculation based on how paper Pokemon works. But my assumption is when Pocket eventually does rotations, they'll rotate out entire letters at one time. So all of A will rotate, then all of B will rotate, etc. And they're just like cooked to get here, right? It's just like baby into Altaria hits you, the game is over. So paper Pokemon has a 3-year cycle with their letters. So if Pocket mirrored that, it would mean in fall of 27, when D gets introduced, A would rotate out. Because Pocket is a smaller card pool, I wouldn't be surprised they rotate on a 2-year cycle though, meaning in fall of 26, when C gets introduced, A would rotate out. But there's no official communication on that so far, so it's all speculation at this point. My thoughts on the new Shadowverse set were I loaded up and played one game against Dimensional Climb Runecraft and said to myself, I can't play against this deck for another expansion. I'm playing other things. LBB, thank you for the 51 months. Welcome back. So, Shadowverse has their first sets of big tournaments this coming weekend. If their first tournaments aren't dominated by the Rune deck, maybe I'll give it a chance. But otherwise I'm probably out. Their game only doing live balance passes every 2 months isn't enough with how bad their balance was in the second set. Now that you're back, could we expect a Hoaglandia Spraggles casting duo once again? I'd probably make time to cast a tournament someone else was running if they invited me to do a guest casting spot for a few hours or maybe even a day, but I don't intend to actually run my own tournament again, no. It is a ton of work to run a tournament, and there's not really extra content money to be made from it. The few tournament Spraggles that I put on actually lost me money compared to just doing regular streams once we factored in having to pay for staff. Because you need to have staff to run a tournament reasonably. Matt Choose, thank you for the super chat on the YouTube side. I really appreciate that direct support. Hope your Monday's going well. What do you think about a deck with Giratina and Darkrai only? Darkrai Giratina and Eevee Espeon are probably the two best decks in our metagame still. All the best decks from your previous expansions are still the best decks till proven otherwise, and our first weekend of tournament results don't really imply otherwise. If you're wondering what those first week of results look like, I'm gonna have a what's it called? I'm gonna have a best decks meta report thing up tomorrow morning is the plan. So with the copy of Leaf here, I can pull the Swablu out and put the Mantike up, and then I can hit them with Arceus next turn. Leaf and X-Speed are so good with the babies. I'm gonna get to crack for at least 110 on the second turn of the game here. Do I want to kill the Zubat? I think I do. I think I do. Are there any notable Entei decks? Entei enjoyers, unfortunately, that was the only EX from our new expansion that didn't have a deck in the new decks roundup today. You're curious on what off-meta decks put up good results in our first weekend of tournaments. That's already live on the Hoaglandia Pocket channel. Check that out from early this morning. These breakpoints actually don't work out favorably for us because of the Rocky Helmet, right? So they go... Oh? Does this work for us now? Because the Arceus didn't take 20? Yeah, I think this is a mistake from them. They can have a copy of red. If they have a copy of red, I suppose they win the game. But usually they don't have room for, like, reds and Rocky Helmets. I'm kind of surprised they're playing Rocky Helmet, given that they're an Eheligo deck too. But previously, if they would have done 20 to this last turn, I would have taken another 20, and then their 100 would have cleaned us out. But because they cleared the Mantike instead, I can hit them, and now I'm only dead if they have a copy of red. I think it speaks volumes to the average card evaluation skill in the Pokemon Pocket space that so many people thought Raikou was going to be the worst of the three beasts when Entei was very clearly the worst. Raikou's attack has a real upside, dealing damage to the bench with Cyrus existing in the metagame, while Entei's upside needs you to get to 4 energy, which is realistically never happening on a lead Pokemon, and you want the dogs to be your leads. And don't get me wrong, Entei looks like a very playable card with the ability to draw cards, but it's definitely the worst of the beasts. People really undervalued. Really undervalued the other one. Easy W here on the back of the Cyrus. And even if the Cyrus wasn't lethal here, we could have retreated to the Altaria. Well, they didn't have any energy on things, so I don't think it really mattered. Card evaluators didn't think Cyrus exists. I mean, to be fair, that's one of the biggest mistakes a lot of less experienced card gamers make when evaluating cards, is they refuse to evaluate cards in the context of the metagame. They like try and evaluate cards in a vacuum. And the problem with trying to evaluate cards in a vacuum is they often end up getting all bent up. It's not very useful for anybody involved. We are farming some nerds this morning with this pile of cards. Magby into Arceus is lovely. It means that we'll be able to hit with Arceus on the second turn of the game. Big damn incoming. Gibble's actually a little scary into my babies, because it means if they have their candy right away, they can clean up my 30-pointer. Yeah, I wasn't consuming or making Pokemon Pocket content for the Eevee Grove set, but it's also wild to me. That's the same story from the Eevee Grove set, where people didn't think Espeon would be good, but they were refusing to evaluate it in the context that, like, it plays with Sylveon. Context and nuance is not Gamer's strong suit. If they don't have a candy, we chew them up and we spit them out. And if they do have a candy, we still have a chance, which is a decent place to be. If they brick, they're dead, and if they have it, we're still in the game. One walk. Thank you for the entire year of support. Let's get you a mod sword to go with that subscriber shield. Welcome back. Now, the fossil in the back means that if they have second candy, we're fully cooked. If I top deck a basic, we can clear the Garchomp through a copy of Lily, but I do need to draw a basic in order for that to be an option. This deck is more about Arceus than Altaria. I mean, you clearly weren't watching the couple of games we played earlier, but yes, I'm setting up the card that I have to set up. I don't have an evolution. There's no reason to put stuff on here, especially when facing down a linear attack. Pro tip, your decks are better if they're not all in on a single game plan, typically. So having flexibility to be an Altaria deck while also being an Arceus deck is a good thing to be. Bricking on the basic is real sad here. Just dead to Rampardos candy here. Garchomp is a speedy land shark and retreats for 1. If they don't clear the Magby, they lose the Garchomp to a basic off the top. Right on time, Altaria. I mean, to be fair, this would have been the first turn we could have evolved this Swablu. So they should definitely clear the Magby here. Well, I guess is that true? I guess they clear the Arceus next turn if they hit it with linear attack. That's close. It's closer than I first implied it to be. Can I get a basic? Will do, pig. That'll do, pig. That'll do. All right. Dodge a second copy of Rare Candy. We can dodge a ball. Although I suppose we are also cooked to just a Cranidos here. Hits us for 70 with weakness. Yeah. Survey says... Am I dead yet? Or not? Sometimes lucky. Oh, Swablu on the lead. It's not exciting. Larvitar Enjoyer. It's a rare breed. Oh, Leaf. I would ask why you're not X-Speed, but I know the answer to that question, unfortunately. I don't know what I want my last bench slot to be yet. Could be another Swablu, could be Oricorio. I'm just going to vibe for now. Next turn, we'll leaf the Swablu out of the active and get Arceus charged up here, probably. Unless we top deck Altaria. Probably want this last bench spot to be an Oricorio. Come on, I think I want to be able to hit with Arceus next turn. So I'm knocking this out regardless, so I still don't need to commit just yet to what I'm putting as my last bench Pokemon. I can wait one more draw to see if we find the Altaria or if we get a Lightning Energy for the Oricorio. If we find Altaria, we're in a pretty decent spot because they need to take another turn off still to be able to attack with this. So they clear my Arceus next turn, but they're forever behind on the Giratina. We're hitting this for 130. Geo is also just an outright lethal draw, which is nice. 1 in 9 to just clear him on the spot. Perfect. What a good card that Mars Gamers. Ooh, Lyra is spicy. But they're still just, like, taking a metric ton of damage, yeah? Like, I'm hitting them for 130 again, and then the Oricorio is ready to go. Okay, you need a heal or a cape not to die when you attack by Arceus, and then, like, either still the Oricorio staring you down from behind as well. And Sabrina is lethal now. Still lethal. Dawn's cute though. The world is my oyster. You could kill with a peck. That's true. We could have killed with a peck. Put insult on the injury. Nah, it's time. I don't like wasting people's time. Starting Lightning and having Pichu as my opener is so sad. I guess I could research into a different baby. Sedge. It makes sense to play energy that are all different from your babies. It would if we weren't playing Oricorio, but like you need Pichu and Lightning Energy when you're trying to play Oricorio. Alright. With the Sabrina here, they're probably cooked. To take this Hoppip down. you played with New Dog Trio yet? I've not, but it's on my list. I think all of these, one pointers that can deal 100 early have potential. Slowking. After we had a good set with Slowking, I think all of these early crack you for 100 are potentially very reasonable. Really want an Arceus or a Swablu here. Feels bad, man. Magby adds a free retreat cost, so always optimal to put this up here as opposed to Oricorio. Because now, when I top deck Arceus, we can go ahead and go Energy, Toasty Toss the Arceus. We're going to give up a point here, obviously, but then Arceus is set up to start one-tapping all of these, which is great. Opponent missing their finishers here. They could still top deck a finisher plus have a Cyrus to win the game, though. Like if they have a Cyrus energy switch in hand, any of their 2 energy attackers can win them the game. So they are behind here, but I assume they're not on 0 outs.